8 months ago, 1 year ago. So it means that we were prepared just to come and try and manage some of these problems that we're having today. The rains that we are having today, the rains that were there, the last time we had such rains were about 1972. So probably the weather team have always explained to us that it takes place after 50 years. But probably the last time that this happened was about 1992. Now we are having this today, less than 25 years, because of the global warming that we've been having around. This is a global effect across the world. So probably we need now to come together and address the entire problems that we're having holistically, rather than having the blame game of what has been taking place. In terms of the garbage, today you end up, it's a continuous activity. Yeah. It's not a one-day activity.
Oh, for sure. So is garbage being collected regularly in Nairobi, in all 85 wards, for example, or 17 constituencies? Is garbage being collected on a regular basis?
Sure. In a day, we collect about 3.2 tons of garbage in Nairobi. Yeah, on a daily basis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brian, yesterday we hosted the MP for Eldoret North, the Honorable Beatrice Elachi, and she opened by saying that part of the problem that they are having in Eldoret North was because of uncollected garbage. And she specifically spoke about garbage that's collected from parts of Eldoret South and parts of Eldoret North, and they had identified a central area where this garbage is then taken for county to come and collect. And it had stayed there uncollected for long. When the rains came, when the floodwaters came, they swept the garbage away. How do you respond to this?
Probably, I'm not sure about that particular situation in Eldoret North, but we've been asking our leaders that let's work together. If there's a garbage within your area, talk to us. You cannot say that it has been there for many years and you haven't even talked. And
she said, we asked her that.
Yeah, probably.
She said that she has reached out to the ward admins and the sub-county admins. And they have said, we have sent the word to City Hall. We're waiting for response. We're waiting for action. We're waiting for the activity to happen.
Probably what I will want to explain to you is that some of us will always find self-defensive mechanism in terms of solving the problem. Last time when I was here, you talked about the garbage was in South B.
Yeah.
After 2 days, it was cleared. So probably the one you're talking about in Eldoret North, if probably I know where it is, I know it will be cleared probably in a day's time. Some of these areas that we're having as collection centers are not meant to be collection centers. People just modify their own places for collection. So we need to identify some of these challenges that we're having today, and we will not stop. We will not stop Nairobi County to go and collect. But we've been having areas that have been demarcated for collection centers, and people tend to ignore. Now look at the situation that we're having today. Last time when I was here, I was telling you that people are going outside then throwing each and every waste outside. Somebody's driving, throwing plastic containers outside. You're walking, you're done with maybe you're having some bites, you're done with it, and then the packaging, the wrappers, you just dumped everywhere. And today now, the challenge that we're having today, the drainage systems that we're having today, the pressure that we're having in Nairobi County is because of that.
So it
must be a collective responsibility.
Indeed.
Sure.
Indeed. It's been how many months of the Green Army? For those who do not know about the Green Army, just tell people, what's the Green Army? Okay,
Green Army, when we got into the government, and one of the visions that Governor Sakaja was having is to have a young team that can go out and clear the drainage system and clean the entire environment, plant trees, do beautification within Nairobi County. And after it was done last year, November, December, when we managed to employ 3,500 youth within Nairobi County. Because the entire workforce that we were having was a bit aging. The last time we had a young workforce was about 1999. So when we came in, we had to now bring a new team that is energetic, young, that can go out of their way and give their best within Nairobi and make the people of Nairobi live with dignity.
When were they unveiled at Uhuru Park? Which month was it?
Was it last year?
Yes, it was last year. Yeah. Was it September or October?
I can't remember the exact date, but...
it was ahead of the anticipated El Nino.
Yes, right? It was.
And they've been working since then.
Sure.
How many?
3,500.
3,500.
Yes.
Spread across all the sub-counties, all the 85 wards, right?
Yes.
So ideally, for the last 6 months or so, we have a fresh 3,500 people who wake up every day, and their job is to ensure environmental cleanup in this city.
Yes.
Right? To ensure that if there's an area where we are noticing, okay, people do not know that there's a designated garbage collection area here, we shall alert them using even the local ward administrators to tell people this is not the area, this is the best area to go to. Meanwhile, we clear the garbage that's been collected here, right?
Yeah.
So we should not be having the situation we're talking about
in
Dagoretti North or anywhere else.
There's quite an improvement. Maybe just one case study that you can mention today. But has been an immense improvement in terms of the waste collection within Nairobi County compared to some years back. Probably, if today we will not be having the entire team of 3,500 people clearing our drainage system and keeping our environment clean, probably will be in a very, very awkward situation. The waters that we've been having today, there's been a proper management in terms of the drainage system. But now the challenge is that the raging waters we're having, we cannot control because the capacity of the drainage system cannot hold the waters.
Right.
So we need to now start going back to the drawing board and coming up with proper drainage system that can accommodate the entire situation.
Right. City, hold on. Let's take a break.
We're taking a break.
Yes.
Right.
It's 8:30. Brian Mulama is the County Executive Committee member. That is the Minister for Mobility and Works in the Nairobi City County Government. He's here. He's the man in charge of addressing the issues that are happening right now in the county in terms of works, in terms of clearing drainages, in terms of roads that may not be passable. He's the one who's in charge of that. He's the one who coordinated with, which agency was this? Was it Kura or Kera? Kura to come with those things that was collecting water from the road. He will tell us. Tukuja na buckets. Tuchote maji. I continue shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Experience the vibrant pulse of Africa at Festac Africa Festival 2024 in Kisumu. Join us for a week-long celebration of culture, music, fashion, and more from May 20th to 26th. Dive into sustainable growth with food, arts, education, and youth empowerment. Don't miss Africa's premier Pan-African and global cultural exchange program. Get your tickets now. 1 day for 500 Kenya shillings or the full week for 2,000 Kenya shillings. Kisumu County welcomes the world to be part of Africa's forward movements. Act fast and secure your spot in this unforgettable journey. To register, just go to www.festacafrica.org. It's once again time for back-to-school shopping, and Naivas is here to let you know that you can shikanjia ya big shopping the Naivas Kiloko way. At Naivas, we acknowledge the effort parents and guardians have put into preparing for back to school. That's why we have lined up amazing deals and offers from the 24th to the 30th of April on back to school essentials with Naivas Kikapu Kibonge Super Safari. Naivas saves you money.
Shika every single Premier League game live on your phone or tablet with Showmax.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
For just 500 shillings a month, catch all the games, all the highlights, all the previews, all the reviews.
They're desperately trying to stop him. No!
Goal Rush, Analysis, Gen XG, The Righty Show, Live Match Pause and Rewind feature. The world of the Premier League is now in your hands with Showmax. Kushika Showmax and catch every game live mkononi. Download the Showmax app to your phone or tablet today. Shika game na Showmax. Streaming for Africa. Sign up on showmax.com.
The weather with SpiceFM.
Sunny conditions in Nairobi this morning at 18 degrees, and it's 19 and sunny in Nakuru, 20 and partly sunny in Nyeri, with 16 and sunny conditions into Eldoret. Into Mombasa, it's sunny at 26, and Malindi at 28 is sunny. Out in Kisumu, 23 and sunny, while Kakamega is sunny at 22. Kampala, 21 is sunny, with sunny conditions at 26 in Dar es Salaam, while at 9 degrees it's sunny in Johannesburg, and out in Mogadishu, 30 and sunny, with sunny conditions at 18 in Addis Ababa. Lagos is sunny at 28, with sunny conditions at 24 in Kinshasa.
Spice up your life.
All right, where are we and what is happening? Still in traffic hour, and not too crazy in the city this morning. Just looking at traffic dwindling on the Thika Superhighway, and it looks much better as you're approaching Moranga Road on this side and Wangari Maathai on the other. Kiambu Road then coming into the city, not looking too bad. We're looking at a hold up as you get towards Muthaiga Square, but as you come off of Spring Valley and then also from Lower Kabete, that also is reducing significantly. We're keeping an eye on things this morning. Do talk to us. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
Are you ready? Okay.
Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Our conversation continues with the CCM for Mobility and Works in the Nairobi City County Government, Brian Mulama. City, now that question.
Everything that we're saying, and given the forward planning that the county government of Nairobi had with regards to ensuring that at least you have a body of individuals whose work is to try and ensure that they mitigate natural disasters like the one we're having now. Would you therefore say that, given the magnitude of this problem, and given that no matter how you had prepared, you could not have foreseen this, are you saying that would you say this is a good opportunity now for the county government of Nairobi to actually prepare well and better in the event that an occurrence such as this one visits us?
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. It's a learning process in terms of the level of preparedness. You understand that most of the time the disaster situation that we've been dealing with most of the time have been fire. And for this particular scenario, the raging waters and the floods that we are having has good negative impact within our level of preparedness. So probably moving forward, and maybe I want to appreciate the national government, the National Assembly. They passed a bill that's going to form a disaster management authority. This will really help to coordinate some of these things.
I cannot join you in thanking them, sorry. That thing is long overdue. But anyway, go on.
Now it has taken shape anyway.
Yes.
So in terms of having the level of preparedness, we need to now build capacity as Nairobi team. We're going back to now get a very good team that will be trained in terms of when it comes to swimming. Secondly, we need to have drones that will really help in terms of evacuation and going out to rescue some of these people.
Sorry, Brian.
So
if you'd allow me,
yes.
Just because I think sometimes we say these things,
yes.
But without understanding the depth of them. Yes. Because we say it just sounds great. Whenever there is a tragedy or a problem, we come together with a multi-agency, stakeholder committee, something. You've just used another one of those words, and you said build capacity. What exactly does that mean? A disaster is an emergency. Yes. Emergency, by definition, does not allow you the luxury of time to prepare. So that means that you almost always, must be on standby.
Yes.
For a capital city of its caliber in Kenya, the truth of the matter is that if something happened today, I'm not even talking about what has been going on with the floods. If something were to happen today, Nairobi would be flattened because this capacity you speak of exists not. So when you talk about training people, you said training people to swim. You said this.
Yeah.
To swim. He said swimming.
No, we need to build capacity when it comes to rescuing our when there are raging floods, we need to know people guys who can dive and swim and rescue some of these people.
Having divers.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Secondly, let me just explain this to you. That
so no, I need to understand. My question was, I need to understand what build capacity actually means, because when we look at the situation in Nairobi today, the different parts, some of them you've already talked about, Nakuru, we look at places in Kileleshwa, Kilimani that have flooded. What exactly are we talking about? That at any one point, there will be people on standby who will provide mattresses, bedding, food, sanitary equipment, and we get people to a place whereby they can actually lodge until the situation is taken care of. That when Kenya Met says this and this is going to happen, we tell people, we're not asking you, we're telling you to move. And this is where we are telling you to move to. Not that today, when somebody's house has been washed away, we give them 5,000 shillings. Where are they supposed to go? What are they supposed to do? This food that they buy, where are they supposed to cook it? To me, that's what building capacity actually means. Again, I go back to a city the caliber of Nairobi. We cannot have this maybe, if, but this is what will happen if. It has to be ready to go today. And again, I go back to the definition of an emergency. It doesn't allow you the luxury of time to prepare. That means at any one time you have to be ready to go. To me, that's what building capacity means.
Okay.
But it could be different from what you see. Could you maybe explain?
Probably, let me explain this, that you will not expect that today Dubai will have fallen into the same trap that we are in today. Because they have the capacity, they have everything. I want to say this, that there is no particular time that will say that there will be no disaster or calamities. Sometimes we'll have them. And building capacity, you talked about having, in terms of providing food and food items and accommodation. That's what we are doing. And we've already developed capacity in this. I was trying just to explain that we need now to enhance our level of capacity in terms of the rescue missions. Many years ago, Nairobi was really struggling when it comes to fire disaster. And today, Nairobi, we can really go out and proudly say that when there's any fire outbreak, we always manage in good time.
But Waziri, we haven't had serious fires. So that capacity has
We had a serious fire the other day.
You
forget
in Mbakasi.
There's a reason why I'm mentioning we haven't had a serious fire.
Now imagine the some size of fire that we had.
Yes.
With the serious that you have in mind.
Yes.
Let's work with a small one first. Mbakasi, Muradi.
Yeah. Yes, we managed.
To do what?
To put out the fire. So, probably we have a well-equipped team when it comes to fire management and response team. I remember the Mbakasi one, we were there. After probably about 20 minutes, our team was already on the ground working on it. When it comes to the floods, it has taken many years for us to be in the same situation that we are today. And that's why I was saying we need to build capacity in terms of now managing the floods that we're having. We're asking Nairobians to vacate the riparian areas because...
Don't ask them to vacate. They're not going to vacate. You see, the occupation of the riparian area falls squarely within the planning department and those who give permissions to build. Squarely.
Yeah.
And they are nestled within the county government. Now, some of these problems, Waziri, to be fair, you came into this docket, what? This is your second year? Okay?
Yeah.
So, really, you are unfortunate in that you're dealing with historical problems which are not really of your making.
Yeah.
And what perhaps would be important is, as you said when you're last here, what it is that you are doing. Because some of the problems we keep talking about, for instance, in the areas that Ndu mentioned, surely it isn't the works department. It is the planning department. It is the department that ensures that those buildings take place, etc., etc., etc. So essentially, these are problems that have been waiting for a situation like this to expose what has been talked about over and over and over again. How many storms do we need for those who plan for these things to ensure that when you're putting up a road, you're putting up a building, the stormwater drainage is of a certain capacity? Now, these rains may even be more than you could have planned for. But are we saying that they were adequate so that it may rain, it is flooded, but the water flows? In a day or so, you see it's flooded. What we have now is very different, and we even acknowledge this. Now, here we are. This isn't the last time it's going to rain.
Yes.
And rain is just one problem. There are other problems that we will encounter.
Okay. Probably I want to agree that we need now to change and do things that are unpopular. Let me talk about the rivers. The rivers have decided to claim back their land. Asking these people to vacate and maybe giving out some little bit of relief in terms of cash and mattress and blankets, just to ask them to move from that particular areas, because some of these properties are not their own properties. They are meant for rich people who decided to have these properties. We want to bring them down. We have a regeneration program that's going to rehabilitate the Nairobi River. So this is the right time to start it. And that's why we are planning. And that's why we're asking most of these people just to come, because they have that resilience to move on. We want to ask them now to move from the lower areas so that they can start life afresh in the right areas. In terms of the plans that we're having as Nairobi County, we always talk about now going vertical. And people will come and oppose this. Because the number that we're having today in Nairobi, we're about 5-6 million Nairobians. By 2050, we'll be more than 10.5 million. We need now to start planning towards this. Now, how are we going to absorb some of these people? And that's why we always say, let's serve the affordable housing. Let's find a better way of accommodating most of these people so that they can move from the slums areas and get a better place to live in.
Before the issue of the riparian land, remember, there was a time when people building on road reserves.
Yeah.
And they were given notice. But at that point in time, there's a gentleman who was in charge of roads. You might know him. He was called Raila Odinga. He's still called Raila Odinga. He was then Minister for Roads. What did the ministry do? They simply gave you notice and then they moved. Road reserve, that's what it was. Now, riparian land is riparian land. Are people actually supposed to build on riparian land? No. But we see the numbers. It's not that some were even removed. Yes, it is costly. People go to great pains. People lost life savings. But surely the responsibility lies with the person who buys that land and the one who builds. In all honesty, it does. But then we cannot absolve those who allow them and those who have the power and the mandate to ensure that laws are adhered to. See, now again, that is not your docket.
I know it's not within my docket, but probably just to say that these are some of the problems that have been there many years ago.
Yes.
That is historical. But we need to start fixing this. If we don't fix this, then it will be the same problem in future. So for us to fix this is to ask these people now to vacate from those areas and get to better areas or high areas where they can live.
When are you planning to do this? When will you ask them to leave?
Right now and that's why I was coming to what we talked about. Why are we giving them that cash for them to move? Just to help them now to start life. You can't ask them to vacate from those areas, whereas there's no relief for them.
But Waziri, you cannot start life with 5,000 shillings in this city.
I don't think it was that much in some cases.
I'm not talking about 5,000, but
I think it was less than maybe, or more than that. But okay, I don't know if it was 5,000. Is there an amount that you say this is enough for you to start on, for example?
There's a way the county government is trying to bring some relief. The national government and the Red Cross are working together. So probably at the end of the day, it's not about 5,000. Okay. We always very fast to be judgmental in terms of the amount of money that people are getting.
Actually, we're
but this is a disaster.
We're judgmental about governments because they are the ones who have the power to mitigate against these things. And the resources, we call them taxes, which we actually give them. And then we even elect them so that they can do these things for us. So when they don't do it, we're not quick to judge. We're just saying, you know something, this is what you should have done, and you didn't do it. It's really not complicated. We're not finding fault. Yeah. It wasn't done. And yet we gave you money because we pay taxes. And if we don't pay taxes, we suffer. So we pay. You see, this thing that every time we speak about things that the government has not done and done, they forget. When they've done things, we also say they have done these things. We say there is this. We say there is this. Now, when we point out something that ought to have been done, we are quick to judge. This isn't a judgment. Judgment is a lot worse. This one is just pointing out. That's all we're doing, just pointing out. With maximum respect, this ought to have been done, but it wasn't done.
It ought to have been done maybe many years ago. Yes. It was not done in a proper way.
Wasn't done.
But now, what we're supposed to do right now is to try and find a better way of fixing this problem.
Okay, so how are we fixing it?
And that's why we're asking that we're asking these people now to move from the lower areas just to get a better place to live.
Let's have a specific example. In the next hour, we're going to have a conversation with a lady who is among those that are spearheading support for victims in Madar.
Yes.
What are you doing in Madar as the county government of Nairobi?
Probably in Madar, we've provided different measures in terms of helping these people. We've allocated some of the machineries like excavators. The backhoes are working to create waterways. The people have been marooned. Our team has gone out to, the disaster team has gone out to rescue some of them and provide temporary shelter or accommodation for them.
Where?
There's the Madar VTC. Maybe probably can have the data.
Yeah.
There's the Madar VTC. Okay. Then there's the Kibera, where there's the DC place where we have a camp for our rescue team. So probably I'll share the list as we move on.
So basically
there were about 31 areas that were meant for camps, but probably today we only having 10. Some of them have gone back to start life again.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else are you providing? So you said food and non-food items.
Food and non-food items, mattresses.
So is the county actually buying food and taking to the people in Madar?
Sure. Yes, that's what we're doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of food?
Cereals. That's what we're providing, and most of the grains and foodstuffs that can help people in terms of now.
How many portions? Is it one portion that's going to last?
No, we're not doing
portions.
It's a control. We're working with Red Cross just to make sure that we have the numbers, we have the right numbers of these particular people, and the kind of food that we provide is to sustain them during this particular time until they go back to maybe a better place.
So specifically, what is the county? What's the county doing in Madar, for example? Because we've seen Madar has been very clear, right? This is the entire Madar area that's been affected. People's homes were swept away, their homes were completely flooded, people were marooned, they've moved into Madar VTC. So the people in Madar VTC, right?
Yeah.
What is the county government doing specifically? Now then, we can say these efforts are also being now complemented by Red Cross and others.
So what we're doing right now is to make sure that we accommodating these people with foodstuffs. We're providing mattresses and blankets. We've now gone back to now finding a permanent solution to this, to ask these people, don't go back to the downstream. That's why we're offering some cash to them so that they can go and get some other better places to start life.
Okay, how much?
It only depends on the family. Other families are getting 10,000, others are getting 20,000.
What's the 10,000 supposed to do? What's
just to get probably a house
for 1 month rent?
Probably 1 or 2 months. Yes.
Okay. No. You've got to be specific, because if you don't do that, then you leave them.
I can't be specific
hanging.
Because there are areas where you find a house of about 7,000.
There has to be a minimum, Waziri. I mean, you have to say that in an average family of X number of people, we are asking you to move from Madar lowlands and move to higher grounds, and we are supporting you for the first month, 30 days, 2 months, 3 months to get into this.
And to buy food, for
example. Yes.
Okay.
And then thereafter, we shall then also come in and support you with other stakeholders. We shall mobilize other stakeholders to help you with livelihood. I mean, what is this support?
Okay. Probably what we've done is provide the foods and non-foods. We provided the initial amount of rent to start life with. Probably the national government too are still doing something in the Red Cross. So when all of these are collected together in terms of assisting these people, they will start life. We cannot say that we're going to change their entire life, but we just want them to now get something small, just to put their life in good shape and move forward. We can't fix like 100%.
I was hoping to hear from you, Waziri, unless there's another department that's in charge, more directly in charge of this disaster, to actually get to know that as county we are taking lead, that the national government is coming in to support us, the Red Cross is coming to support us, whoever else is coming, all CBOs are coming to support us in our effort, and this is the plan. The plan is people move. We'll support them for 3 months, for 6 months, for 8 months, and they will live here. We are going to make sure that they're getting food. This is the food stuff they're getting, the blankets that will be sufficient. We have a shortfall of X. we need this extra support. What I'm hearing from you, Waziri, is probably. And that's not comforting.
Okay, probably, most of these things that you mentioned, they always come alongside with budgets. So I don't want to promise that we're going to take care of this people for the next 6 months when I'm not sure about the budget we're going to have. I can always explain to you that this is what we're having at the moment.
Okay, yes. I take you back into the months when the Green Army was launched.
Yes.
When the Green Army was launched, among the message that was coming from the county is we have been warned by the weatherman that we are going to have El Nino and Nairobi will be affected. And this is part of our preparedness for that El Nino to come. I want to find out from you, Waziri, in those 6 months, has the county government of Nairobi, the county executive, according to the constitution, is the governor, the deputy governor, and the maximum of 10 ministers. You form the government of county of Nairobi.
Yes.
Have you been meeting as the government of Nairobi? And what have you been working on? Because the weatherman is available. He's in your county, in Dagoretti. Have you summoned him to your meetings and told him, come in, tell us, how much rainfall are we expecting? You're saying above normal rainfall. How much? If you're talking about flooding, what do we need to prepare for? And then as county government of Nairobi, what have you been doing? Because the people of Madar, you can't be saying now today is when you are thinking about budget and you're not sure of budget.
No, we are okay. Probably I'm talking about in our 1 or 2 months' time that we can always take care of that. And to ask about what will happen in the next 6 months. Probably going back to Madar and having the displacement camps that we want to mention. There's the Madar VTC. We have the Valley Bridge Primary School. Then there's the PAG School. There's the Musedo. Then there's the Madare North Primary School and the Madare 4A Primary School. Then there's the Drive-In Primary School and Hanka Education Center.
How long will they be in these camps?
We want them to be there for the shortest time possible. And that's why because some of these places are schools, so in a week or 2 weeks time, we want to make sure that at least they get another place where they can start a living.
So this is the thing, because schools will open on Monday, according to the director from the same government, unless for some reason that does not happen. Yeah. So if that happens as it is planned for Monday, that's 5-6 short days away from now.
Yeah.
So do you have an idea of where they would go? Because what I'm hearing from you is that the assistance that they are being given is to buy food and things that they need.
And provide rent to them.
So where they're staying, accommodation has been taken care of for the week.
When we were starting,
what happens after that?
We were having 31 displacement camps. And today they're about 10.
Okay.
Probably by the end of this week, we'll have done away with the 10 camps that we're having today.
Because people will go
We don't want to create the camps and settlement areas again.
I understand, but where will they go?
And that's why we're offering some amount of money just for them to
go rent somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's also very important. I mean, for your comfort as well. This looks as though we're coming at you and saying, you need to have a plan. But can you imagine? We need to know where they will go because you're not sure. Can you imagine what kind of relief
Let me tell you one thing with Nairobi.
If it would afford you the relief as well to know, you know what, guys? If the data we are collecting, because the assumption here is that all of these departments that operate in Nairobi are providing the country are providing information. It is with that information and data that then informs the decisions that will be made. Kenya Met says this, early warning systems say this, mitigation efforts, Red Cross says this is what to expect, 1, 2, 3. It is the hope that all that information is taken, and then you can say, guess what, guys? From what we've been told, we have about a 2-month window period for which we must provide for these people.
Yeah.
With that, stop everything, release the funds so that these people can be taken care of. I'm not even talking about the whole country. I'm talking about Nairobi.
Okay,
so that they can be taken care of. But the unfortunate thing is that we don't hear that plan is being infused by the information which is readily available, and then we activate based on what we know. We seem to be shooting in the dark at best.
No, we're not shooting in the dark. The 13,000 people who have been affected, we have their contact numbers. We can always they can always get in touch with us anytime. What we're doing right now, we only want them just to get a place, like probably provide the rent for 1 or 2 months for them to start life again. Probably it can be a continuous thing as we continue planning towards this. We were not expecting the entire process to be involving and just the magnitude of it. And what we've done at the moment is to now provide a small relief for them to start off again. Then after that, we are asking them now to, we'll continue providing food, we'll continue providing shelter, we'll continue providing, some of the students have lost their books, that have been swept away. We want to go back again and provide some of these educational materials. So what I want to explain to you is that it's a continuous process, but I can only explain what we are doing at the moment. I cannot talk about what we'll do in the next 6 months, because if you start creating that mentality, you'll find many people will come. Millions of people will come. They want to come and benefit from this.
Waziri, we pay you to think about 6 months from now.
Yeah.
Okay? We are the ones who
we have the plan, but we cannot preempt everything.
Create the confidence in us that at least you're thinking about 6 months from now. Because if you're not, that's why we are here. It tells us that 6 months ago, despite the weatherman being here in Dagoretti and telling you every day that rain is coming, this is going to be worse than you have seen before. You had not thought about 6 months.
Let me tell you one thing. If I come here and try and preempt that we are providing maybe 20,000 to displaced families, you will get millions and millions of people who want to come and benefit.
You will vet the people.
You have a vetting system whereby you're able to prove. You just said that you have the information for 13,000 families.
Who do you work with in these places? The local administrators. Administrators,
yes. Leaders, ward administrators, sub-county administrators, sure.
People like that.
Yes.
You know,
City.
Yes.
Watch it tuingie kwa news. Was it stay on for another 12 minutes or so?
Okay.
Right?
Just 12.
Yeah, just so we can welcome Zalendo Wanjera, who is a community organizer, co-founder of the Madar Social Justice Center. She'll tell us what they're doing in Madar. 9 a.m. news time.
Now, Ubaga. And as the doctors' strike enters its 50th day today, the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union will today hold protests over failed negotiations that have made them not call off their strike. KMPDU Chairman Abidan Marchi reiterated that the government had failed to show any intention to address their complaints, despite saying that it had dealt with 18 out of their 19 issues.
The strike by the doctors continues. And now with the new set gear, following the publicity of the lies that have been set forth by the negative ad set, led by the Cabinet Secretary, we are now back to our 19 demands in full, in total, because we do not trust their words anymore.
Union Secretary General Davji Atela on his part says doctors will continue ignoring threats that have been issued by the government, including the one that has seen their union deputy, Dennis Meskele, laid off.
There's no money, there's no victimization, there are no threats that will change our mind on this. And that's why we told them that if you think you have offered us something worthwhile, and then you want to violate our CBA on the part of interns, then that is a no. And it will remain a no until everyone is protected, from the interns to the consultants.
Meanwhile, the Kenya clinical officers will today hold demonstrations at SRC, the Ministry of Labour, COG and Parliament. This comes ahead of a hearing on the contempt of orders by county government tomorrow. Retired President Uhuru Kenyatta has been appointed to lead the African Union Election Observation Mission in South Africa. Chairperson of the Africa Union Commission, Musa Faki, says the AU-EOM comprises 60 short-term observers, including 3 core team electoral experts set to observe the elections from May 21st to June 3rd this year. Nyamira woman representative Jerusha Momanyi has warned residents against employing minors, terming it as child labor. Speaking in Keroka, Jerusha has denounced the deed, saying that those who will be found guilty will be dealt with severely. Jerusha has also advised the area's chiefs to take responsibility over the vice that has become the new normal.
Nimesikia kuna watoto ambao waende shule. Wameanza kufanya kazi katika manyumba na mashamba ya watu. Na mnajua kama wewe umeajiri mtoto wa shule, hiyo ni hatia na serikali kupata, wewe ndio utafungwa. Please, machiefs wetu, ninataka na mimi niwapatie jukumu. Mkiona kama watoto ambao wanastahili kuwa katika mashule wako mahali popote, please report.
Expectant mothers have been urged to consume healthy foods before and after delivery for the sake of their babies. Kakamega Governor's wife Janet Baraza says most of the infants whose mothers fail to pay attention to a good diet suffer from various diseases and deformities as they grow.
Ikiwa wewe ni mama ambaye uko na watoto wachanga ama bado una uwezo wa kupata watoto, hakikisha kwamba hao watoto unawalinda vizuri. Kuanzia wakati ule wanaposhika mimba, hakikisha kwamba unapata chakula vizuri ili yule mtoto ambaye umembeba awe na afya nzuri. Na unapojifungua, nyonyesha huyo mtoto kwa miezi 6 bila kumpatia chakula kingine. Wewe kunywa hiyo uji, kula ugali, upate maziwa, nyonyeshe mtoto. Usimpatie mtoto uji wa miezi 2 ama kumpatia ugali. Huyo mtoto akona appetite unampea ugali. Hiyo itafanya huyo mtoto hatakuwa na afya nzuri baadaye. So wewe unyonyeshe mtoto kwa miezi 6, ikifika miezi 6 ndio waanze kumpatia chakula kingine kidogo kile kizuri kinafaa mtoto. Mtoto atakuwa na akili nzuri, atakuwa na afya nzuri, hatakuwa na magonjwa ya kila wakati. Hata kunyonyesha mapema atakuwa na magonjwa ya kila wakati sababu umempatia vyakula vingine ambavyo havistahili kwa mwili wake na umri wake.
Well, that's good information for our generation now. And in the international news, King Charles is to carry out his first major public engagement since his cancer diagnosis. The King and Queen Camilla will visit a hospital and specialist cancer center in a public show of support for staff, patients and ongoing research work. Aside from attending an Easter Sunday church service, the King has stayed away from public events and crowds. But last week, Buckingham Palace issued a statement with a more positive message about the monarch's health. The King's doctor was said to be very encouraged by the progress made so far in his treatment for an unspecified form of cancer. That's the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, has not been too crazy this morning. Folks being really careful here and there. But then traffic still looks like a little bit of something just as you get towards that Pangani underpass coming off the Thika Superhighway. But I think we're done and dusted with that today. Coming in from Kitisuru out towards Muthaiga and then touching on Parklands and on Parklands Road, a little bit of that. And into the CBDs, probably we'll see the most of it now. Gong Road. Little pockets of traffic here and there, but apart from that, I think we're done. We'll keep an eye on things. Let's see what happens when we come out of traffic hour proper. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
On to the final hour of The Situation Room this Tuesday, the final show of April 2024. 7 minutes after 9, we have a new guest joining us alongside Waziri Brian Mulama, who will be leaving halfway through this conversation to attend to other meetings and his activities, of course, of what he's doing, coordinating rescue and support efforts in the city county. But now we are now joined by Mzalendo Wanjera. Mzalendo is the community organizer and co-founder of the Madar Social Justice Center. Wanjera, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the hot seat of The Situation Room.
Asante sana for having me this morning.
Very good. Now, before CT welcomes you with the day's proverb, Ndu has a message from Showmax.
Shika Showmax. Hold on, Abi. Right. So it's a new streaming platform for Africa, updated and said, you know what, all your favorite movies, all your favorite series, Premier League, football, all your live matches, fan content, analysis and updates, everything you can get on the go. So imagine a situation whereby you can download it and then you can watch it later. For as little as 300 shillings a month, you can get on a platform whereby you can watch all of this great, fantastic entertainment on the go, or when you're sitting down at your computer or sitting down in front of your TV. Showmax has put it all in a way that is accessible to you wherever you go. Get onto better entertainment as you shika Showmax.
Very good. City? Welcome, Wanjera, with the day's proverb.
Yes.
And Wanjera, what you need to do is listen to the proverb and we'll ask for your interpretation of it.
Okay.
The proverb for this week are from
the Republic.
The proverbs for this week are from
the proverbs for this week are from the Republic of Algeria. Okay. As we didn't say a word, he thought he could do anything he liked.
As we didn't say a word, he thought he could do anything he liked. How do you interpret that, Wanjera?
That's a good proverb. It reminds me of a saying I had the other day. Someone said, one day we are going to ask the dictator, how did you become a dictator? And they're going to say, because nobody stopped me.
Hey. Nice. Very good.
Yeah, that is my interpretation of that proverb.
That is very direct.
You
and very direct. Tumekubali. Wanjera, we've introduced you and meet Brian Mulama. He's the CCM for Mobility and Works in the Nairobi City County Government. In the previous hour, we were talking about the work that the Nairobi City County is doing in response to the current situation in the county and preparation for any future events and what mitigation measures they're putting in place. Waziri, Wanjera is coordinating right now support for victims of Madar. But before I speak on your behalf, just tell us, what is the Madar Social Justice Center, and what are you doing right now?
Well, the Madar Social Justice Center is a community-based organization that tries to bring about social justice in Madar. We started with human rights, documentation of what is happening in Madar, the extrajudicial executions. And now we are faced with the ecological crisis that we have to step in and come through for our community in terms of mobilizing support for victims of floods. So we have documented so many people that need help. Our data has gone to over 1,000 people, actually 1,000 families that have been affected. We're also trying to gather how many people have gone with the floods. And we're trying to get support for all these victims. Yesterday, I went to Madar 4B, and it was horrible seeing mothers with small babies sleeping on the floor, no food. You know, even when we receive food donations, vitu zilienda na maji, vitu za kupika, gas, sufuria, everything, mattresses. So we are forced to set up a kitchen, sort of a community kitchen where we cook and people can come for hot meals, breakfast, lunch. Yeah, as we try and give out blankets, mattresses, and mobilize for books, especially because watoto wanarudi shule soon na hawana vitabu, uniforms na bags. So that is what we're trying to do at the moment.
You went to Madar Area 4.
Yes.
Where are these victims? Are they in a concentrated area or are they back to their homes?
So most churches and schools are acting like the places where people are residing at the moment, but they're sleeping on the cold floor because there's no mattresses and the blankets. The one that were brought by Rigathi Gachagua, the vice president, are not enough. They brought 500 mattresses. So so many people are still needing mattresses and blankets. Others are outside because hawaizi toshea bado ndani ya shule na church wengine, especially the young men. Outside in the
open.
Yeah.
On the compound, just on the compound.
On the compound that is imejaa tu matope. You know how the flooding area looks like. You've seen the pictures and the videos. Yeah. So others are just outside. So when it rains, it's catastrophic because you have no warm clothes, you have no house to go to. It's just a horrible humanitarian ecological crisis that is going on. And not just in Madar now, we can see that the floods have gone to other areas of the country as well. Maimahio, for example.
Yeah. Coming back to Madar and just staying with Madar, Waziri has told us about various areas where people are seeking shelter and they're being offered shelter, and this is where the support is actually being directed. For example, the Madar VTC, PAG Primary School, right? Madar North Primary School, and others. Have you been to these schools?
Yes, I have been.
Have you seen support coming to the people there?
I have seen, but what we're saying is it is not enough because these schools are not able to host all the victims of the floods. So there are still many other people who are yet to be reached. There are many other areas huko ndani ya Madhare watu hawajafikiwa. Kama jana watu wa Fubi, they have not seen any government intervention, they have not seen any help until we went yesterday and were surprised to see that there's also just as much sufferation in this area as well. So most visible areas kuna support, but uko ndani hakuna support inafika.
What do you see when you go into these areas? What are we talking about here when we talk about folks sitting outside, their houses are rained in? What exactly are the issues that you're seeing?
We are seeing women sleeping with children outside and calling for a mattress and a blanket. We're also seeing women call for women things like pads and panties and diapers for children. We're also seeing the young people needing warm clothes kwa sababu wana pair priority, the women and the young children and the older. So the youths wako wamejiwacha tu hivyo peke yake, na tunajaribu mobilize also for warm clothes when we are doing a call for donations because it's still raining, it's still cold outside. Yeah. So food is also very important because as we have said, vitu za kupika kwa nyumba hakuna, hata tukienda tupeane unga na mkate na cooking oil, there's nothing to cook that.
Nini kupika.
So
Waziri, this actually comes in, I've just thought about it. Schools are closed, all right? Dishina County is operating kitchens.
Yes.
Are you seeing what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we have got kitchens that are capable of preparing meals and taking to these particular areas.
Yes.
Right now, those kitchens do not have such a high demand because schools are closed.
Okay.
Can they be used to provide cooked meals that will be taken and distributed to these rescue centers?
Probably we can plan about this. The schools were supposed to open this week on Monday. Thank God the government decided to now postpone the process to next week. So it's maybe in 4 days, 5 days, we can plan about it. But that will be a temporary measure. And probably want to appreciate what Wanchera and the team did, the good work they are doing, and coming out and being part of this. I always say they are not asking that what is that the government can do for us, what is it that we can do for the government. It's a collective responsibility. And I want to appreciate your team, the social justice team. I know you've got so many branches across Nairobi. I've worked with your teams. Maybe just to highlight maybe the area you're talking about 4B, I don't know, but most of the areas we have in Madare is the Madare VTC Center as one of our camps. There's the Valley Bridge Primary School. There's the PAG School, Gita Turu Hall. We have the Msedo School, Aseke Church, Eldama Madare 4A. Probably we can ask the entire team because of the resources that we're having and struggling. We can ask some of these people now to move to areas where Nairobi County is taking good care of them if there's that struggle in that particular area. Secondly, as I mentioned earlier on, that we need to fix this problem once and for all, just to allow and ask our people not to go back to live in the lower sides of Madare. I know it's a problem, it's a historical problem that has taken place for many years. When during the colonial time they managed to get the highlands and now the lowlands were meant for Africans. And by doing this we need to now fix the problem because we are projecting to, because of the global warming is different challenges, we'll have same problems maybe in some other times to come. So we need to find a permanent solution. to this problem.
Yeah, I'd like to weigh in on that, Waziri, and I'm glad that you trace it from the colonial era of landlessness that has never been addressed to date, because all the people that were living along the river, these are the cheapest houses you could find, ranging from 700 Kenyan shillings, 800, not more than 1,000 for rent. So this is someone who's living less than 100 shillings a day. Okay, so when we say we agree that people need to move from the riparian lands, but we also think that this would be a good opportunity for the government to actually allocate land for the most vulnerable of our population. So when we say we need to move them, where are we moving them to? What plans do the government have of actually allocating these people to dignity? Because their lives have been marred with indignity from the onset. Like some of the women who've lost Mama Victor and Jacinta Adhiambo, who lost their children to extrajudicial killings, who've lost their lives to the floods, who lost even their children. So this crisis is a big crisis that really needs dignity centered at the solution. How best can we provide dignity for these victims of floods in Madar as the government of Kenya? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Probably it's I can say it's a global idea that he's trying to come up with, that the government should offer land.
Yeah.
I don't know if that can be a solution, but had mentioned earlier on that there's that Nairobi is the population of Nairobi is growing. Maybe in 1997 we were less than 2 million people. Right now we're about 5-6 million people. 2050 will be about 50 million. And I was having this discussion that about the affordable housing that we've been talking about. That would be a good solution to the problems we're having as Nairobians. Getting more land in Nairobi. Nairobi cannot grow horizontal. We can only go vertical. Can we have these houses? Can we embrace the entire process? Let's not politicize the entire process of having affordable housing, so that we can accommodate the people who are living in Madar areas, Kibera areas, so that they can get a better place where they can come and live in. Secondly, we in our camp I was trying to explain to Latiff that we've been giving out about 10,000 to families that have been affected. She just mentioned about those people are living in houses that are paying rent that are less than 1,000 shillings. Probably for us, we'll feel like 10,000 is little money for them. But once they get about 10,000, they can get, even if it's a one-bedroom house, some other areas where probably the rent is about 5,000, 6,000. For them to be a relief, rather than living in a place where they're only paying 800 shillings and endangering their life. Yeah.
The effort is laudable. You cannot say it is nothing, because it is not nothing. It is a good thing. But in such circumstances, one wants to understand, even as we're dealing with the here and now, how do we ensure that should such a thing occur and it catches us off guard, we are prepared for being caught off guard? There are things like people living where they shouldn't be living. Surely that is something that the county government can sort out.
Yeah, it can be sorted.
Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe working with the Wanchara team, we'll go back to the entire team and do public participation and ask some of these people now to vacate those areas, because at the end of the day, they have their own rights. You can't go out and start fighting and telling people now it's high time to move. You must have an engagement with them to ask them, this is the high time. You've seen the effects that we are having. Secondly, as Wanchara just asked, where are they going to live? Where are we going to get the
alternative housing?
Yeah. Probably now if they get a higher places where they can get affordable houses, then it will be a permanent solution to the entire problem. I know Nairobians are very hardworking people. They just need to start off. If you help them just to start off again, I know they're resilient to go back and give their best in terms of performance, and they will pick up.
Probably.
So
the question was really then is what would your department be doing in coordination with the ward admins, because there is a ward administrator in every part of this county, and there is local county presence, there is local national government administration presence, and then there are community-based organizations and civil society movements such as Wanjira's, the Social Justice Center. What would they do to help in identifying alternative houses? So that you're not just saying, here is money, move, probably go look, probably go, you may need this and the other. So that there is even a database of available alternative houses where people could move to. And they say, you do not want to move very far from Madar because probably where you work is close to Madar. And so you do not want to completely uproot yourself and move to Kawangware when you've been living in Madar and then where you've been working somewhere inside. There's a reason why this person is in Madar and not Mukuru and not Kawangware.
Yes.
So when you say that move,
where are they going?
Yeah, are you in a position to suggest where they could move? I hear
they
you
know where
saying,
they're supposed to move to. Once they get the money, they know.
Wanjera, do they know where?
Let me
There's
explain.
a lot of confusion.
Let me explain this to you, Latiff. Okay. That you will not ask somebody that I want you to move from this particular place to probably moving from Madare to Uruma Flats. They understand their geographical area. They know where they're supposed to move. The challenge that these people are having is, do they have the money to move? Once they get this money, they always get to a better place where they can now get a rental house and move to. You cannot say that today you will get an apartment somewhere or get a facility somewhere and now go and rent for them and ask them, all of them to move to that particular facility.
There's of course what we can imagine, but then there's also the situation on the
realistic.
ground. I imagine that you've been on the ground for the last number of days.
Yeah, with my
what are we talking about here in terms of? I mean, because you've heard from people, if I could get some money, is that what they're saying? If I could get some money today,
I'll move.
I will move and I will go get another house and I'm fine. So
that's what they're
saying.
asking.
Wanjera, is that what you're hearing?
No, that is not what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is, how is the government coming to stand with us in this difficult time? How is the government coming to sort this problem in not a cosmetic way, but in a way that's a long-term solution? Can the government just provide houses, even as we take temporary cover at the moment?
What would that mean if the government
Article 43 of the Kenya says that all Kenyans have a right to proper housing, decent, dignified housing, and these are vulnerable Kenyans that are actually in need of this right now. So is this something that the government of Kenya can provide as directed by the Constitution of Kenya 2010?
Okay, today, the people who are in that church, who are sleeping on the compound in the open, right? What solution would work for them today?
Today, as the government is sorting out the
as part of
housing
government
bill.
solution.
As part of government solution.
Yeah, but today, mvua ikinyesha, afternoon atanyeshewa yeye na watoto wake. So what's the solution?
For now, I think kuleta hizo mattresses na blanketi ita work for now, but we also need to get cash transfers. Hapo tu kwa church, mali wako, kwa sababu ni floor, mali wako kama tunaweza eka mattresses hapo watu walale na blanketi.
Is there a covering in the places?
There's covering.
There's a roof.
There's a roof.
Okay.
As is in the schools and all that, but you see that is very temporary, kwa sababu shule zitafunguliwa eventually. Hawa watu wataenda wapi? Tukiwatoa kwa hiyo cover.
She just mentioned about cash transfer.
Yeah, we have to do cash transfers to these vulnerable people, so that they can also now jipanga, because also we can't, so everybody knows what they need at most right now, so we can do some cash transfers, mtu aweze kujipanga as we think about the bigger,
you just mentioned plan. Once they get the money, they'll move.
What would it look like, Wanjera?
If it was me, that
I'm asking you this
situation,
because you are mobilizing resources to support these people, right?
Yeah.
We're asking Waziri whether he has a plan. We're also asking you because you're asking for money from the public. What's the plan? We give you money, then?
Yesterday we did some cash transfers to about 100 people to first of all get a place wanaweza lala, okay? To first of all get a rental they can get. But you know where they are going to? Back to Madari too, but sasa uko juu.
Higher ground.
Yeah, uko juu. But as we are saying, these houses in Madare are not decent. Have you seen the houses in Madare? They are shanties and shacks,
Yep.
They are not decent. We have sewerages zinatembea hapo nje. This is a health hazard.
Raw sewerage.
Raw sewerage inatembea hapo nje. We have small babies wanaishi hapo. So there's no dignity in living in Madare at the end of the day. So hata tukifanya hizi cash transfers watu waende kwa nyumba ziko hapo juu, we still need the government to be able to provide dignified housing for the people of Madare and other areas that are like Madar.
So you're saying the same thing that Waziri is saying. So first of all, cash transfer. Give these people money, let them go and look for a house. As a temporary solution.
Yes, I agree.
Because the social housing and affordable housing is a long term. It's not going to be ready in 3 months' time, right? So what is that's a short term. What's a medium term solution as the social housing issue is being addressed at national level and county? So how long would the cash be able to support this family for?
Not for long.
And then what happens after the cash runs out? I mean, how do we say that we are supporting this family that's been affected? They have moved from the lowlands of Madar. They have moved to higher grounds in Madar. They are paying rent. They lost everything. They lost
everything.
They lost their belongings.
Kila kitu mpaka sufuria na kijiko na kikombe. Everything gone, plus clothes, right?
Yeah.
So what is this support looking like from now, 6 months, a year?
That is catastrophic. Kwa sababu even as we donate in kind, even as we give this in kind, bado sustainability inakuwa a bit problematic.
It's bound to be. It's bound to be problematic. But again, what I'd like to hear more of is how organizations such as the one you represent, and I'm sure in such there are many, how they're working with the county government. Because if everyone is a lone ranger, you're going to be duplicating these services. Okay?
Yeah.
How are you working with the county government or with the national government?
Well, it wasn't until recently that we started seeing the county government and the national government come to the ground. On day 1 and day 2 of floods, we had to
You had to act.
To act. But now that we are here with Waziri, we can sit down and see how we can especially harmonize our data, wale wako victims, and then see what help we can give them as we talk about getting housing for them in the long run, 6-7 months from now, maybe.
It's imperative that you do that because there are things the government can do that you can't do.
I agree.
Yes, and there are things they're even willing to do.
We are grateful for that.
Yes.
Okay. But what I also hear, Waziri, we forgot to let you go. You'd asked that we go up to 1:30. Or can you stay longer? Okay. 1:30. Is that your department, as the coordinator of the response to this, needs to be completely in touch with those community actors, such as Wanjeras and the others, that to know in Madare, I've got a network of so-and-so people on the ground in the community that are feeding me information that I'm using to liaise with the community and saying, this is the communication. I'd like you to move. The people who can actually convince them to move are these guys. Okay. You come as government, they'll be like, ongeza hii pesa. Ulikuwa wapi unakuja sahi, right? And then Wanjera can come and tell you, this is what the people are saying, their immediate need. Like now she's mentioned something. Things like sanitation, right? So women and children, if you just go and provide blankets and mattresses, right? Too, so there is also now the sanitation. How much is required? Are there communities, are there areas where people have not been captured? How can we extend the support to those areas? So this is basically just a call for your department to extend its network.
I want to maybe let Wanjira know that we have our ward administrators and sub-county administrators. I don't know if you're working alongside with them, our ward administrators, because they are trying to make sure that they convey all the information from the ground. Secondly, I want to appreciate that Wanjira can talk about having a better housing facilities. And most of the time when we talk about now we want to bring good change in terms of better housing, most of these people who dwell in slum areas will always come and resist and say, no, we are comfortable with our situation. We are not moving. Having Wanjira and other team on board who can help us in terms of having the public participation and convincing these people that we can now do good flats for them, probably in better places for them just to move in so that they can have that dignity. I think it can be a noble idea. Secondly, I also want to talk about this, that if this is a national calamity, it's a disaster. We need now to ask different players, both private and public players, just to come and work together, like Standard Group. They can go out of their way and come and help some of these families. It's something that can be done, and once it becomes a collective responsibility, most of these problems can be fixed. We'll always come and talk about the government and ask, what's the government doing? We're paying taxes. But now this is a calamity. Private players can really come out and do something that is paramount in terms of helping the victims who've been affected.
True, but also the Public Finance Management Act states that 2% of county allocations should be set aside by each county for disaster management emergencies in every financial year. So there are years we don't have this problem.
Very late on that one.
It is 846 million shillings.
Every year?
Every single year for Nairobi.
And has there been a disaster or calamity in Nairobi every year?
Yes.
Every year. And have we seen that 840 million has gone towards that?
And that money has been sent, so it's not as though the money isn't there. So we are talking about 846 million.
From the national government. It's a proposal that we yet to receive the money. We haven't received the money. Right now we are working with our own source revenue, whatever the collections we are getting, just to help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last year, November, there was 8.2 billion approved for disaster, actually. It's in the news.
We can't, those are just hearsays.
No.
8.2 billion is a lot for a 19 billion budget.
Yes. Was that for the nation?
No, you need to. Some of these are.
Was that for the nation?
News, yeah.
Was that for the nation or the county?
The nation.
It's countrywide.
Nation, yes.
The national government.
Yeah.
There's always this little problem of budgets, allocations, and them actually arriving in the county. There's always that little detail. Yes.
Lakini unajua ulipata, si uliona Rigadi alikuja na blanketi jana.
Hazikutosha.
Lakini si ndio hiyo pesa sasa.
Mattress 500 ni nyingi dada.
Ni mingi lakini hazikutosha.
Unajua how much a mattress is in government wewe? Let's take a break. Waziri, thank you very much for joining us. Brian Mulama is the CCM for Mobility and Works in the Nairobi City County Government. He's been our guest since 8 a.m. He's stayed also here to have a conversation with Mzalendo Wanjera, who's a community organizer and co-founder of the Madar Social Justice Center. They are mobilizing support for people who've been affected by floods in Madar. In the next half hour, she'll also be telling us how they are mobilizing this support and how maybe you and I can help with this. Waziri, asante sana. Rush off to your meeting.
Yes.
We'll have another conversation with you soon.
Sure.
And thank you for honoring the invite.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Join us for the Sarit Mega Sale at Sarit Expo from April the 27th to the 30th with discounts up to 70% off. Enjoy incredible savings on beauty, fashion, food and more. Plus, get complimentary Wi-Fi and points with the Sarit Loyalty app and take advantage of exclusive offers. Tune in to Sugar and Spice every weekday from 11 a.m. to 3 o'clock with me, Yolanda Mulwa and DJ Absolute to learn more. Shop smart and save big only at Sarit, your city.
Experience the vibrant pulse of Africa at Festac Africa Festival 2024 in Kisumu. Join us for a week-long celebration of culture, music, fashion, and more from May 20th to 26th. Dive into sustainable growth with food, arts, education, and youth empowerment. Don't miss Africa's premier Pan-African and global cultural exchange program. Get your tickets now. 1 day for 500 Kenya shillings or the full week for 2,000 Kenya shillings. Kisumu County welcomes the world to be part of Africa's forward movement. Act fast and secure your spot in this unforgettable journey. To register, just go to www.festacafrica.org.
Good morning, and I love your show.
Thank you.
Having come from a Kikuyu radio background, I migrated to Spice because of the content.
I was born in a slum, but somehow I got a break in life. So sometimes when you see the sweating coming out because of the passion and whatever it is, behind the noise, there are people. And we share the same umbilical cord.
It shouldn't be like that. I am so disappointed. We used to tell Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga that he's doing politics of conmanship. And even President Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali hii ndio iko na conmanship ya hali ya juu. You cannot promise people that you reduce tax, then you double.
In politics, there is the issue of trust. For you to turn around and then stab the same people who gave you that trust,
There is no other level of dishonesty. Na hii mambo utaona dunia tu.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
The weather with SpiceFM.
All right, cloudy conditions, partly sunny in Nairobi, highs of 25 and lows of 16. We'll see lows of 15 in a mostly sunny Nakuru and highs of 26 and highs of 25 in a mostly cloudy Nyeri at 21. Looking into Eldoret, it's 19 and sunny with highs of 24, and at 29, Mombasa is sunny, going to highs of 32, and we'll see highs of 32 as well in a sunny Malindi. It's 25 and sunny in Kisumu with 24 and sunny conditions in Kakamega. Kampala is sunny at 24 with highs of 28, and we'll see highs of 33 in a sunny Dar es Salaam at 27. 18 and sunny in Johannesburg with highs of 24, and Mogadishu at 32 is pretty sunny with highs of 33, and at 21, Addis Ababa sunny conditions going to highs of 25 and lows of 13. It's sunny in Lagos at 29 and sunny at 24 in Kinshasa. 24 and sunny into Beijing at Tuesday afternoon, and at 12 degrees it's raining in Paris this morning, 10 degrees and cloudy in London, and 15 and cloudy Monday night in New York. Coming to Tuesday, we'll see highs of 20 and lows of 11.
Some very nice mature music.
They really take me back to my days, and I can just feel young again and enjoy the vibes.
Spice.
I'm a big listener of SpiceFM.
You play the best music.
This is 94.4 Spice FM.
A little bit of it left on Landis Road today, going out towards Kamkunji at the roundabout and then on to Haile Selassie. And I think we're done with what's coming off of the Thika Superhighway. Just a little bit left coming towards Muthaiga Square and out of James Gishiro. That was a bit messy earlier, but I think now we are done. We're out of traffic hour, as says the tick-tock of the clock, but we're going to keep an eye on things. Naivasha Road looks a little bit sticky as you approach Ngong Road, but then to watch out for as well. Okay, let's talk through the morning and through the day. Spice FM KE on X.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Okay, 20 minutes to go. Our conversation continues with Mzalendo Wanjera, community organizer, co-founder of the Madar Social Justice Center, and the work that they are doing now to support those that have been affected by the current situation in Madare. And he's saying there are many people. So you've launched a public drive to support people in this area. Now, of course, people have seen what's been happening. We've seen it in the news, we've seen on social media, we've seen people who've gone there and who've reacted to this. Those other people have even visited there and seen for themselves. And you've told us the situation is dire. There are people who are in areas that have not been reached by government and Red Cross and the others. There are those who are even in those areas, but the kind of support they're receiving is not sufficient. Mm-hmm. So what is the immediate need according to the Madar Social Justice Center, and what are you seeking to do to support them?
The immediate needs, according to our assessment right now, is food, first of all. Some people are so hungry, were shaking yesterday. So food, providing warm food, and then places that they can sleep in the meantime, as we had said, mattresses and blankets and warm clothes, because you can see it's still raining, the cold weather inaendelea. So immediate needs is warm clothes, and then books for the pupils that are going back to school. A lot of books, a lot of bags and mattress and uniforms. And then for the women and girls, we still need those sanitary needs.
How are you, putting funds together? I mean, I asked, how is it happening today? Who is doing it? Who is coordinating? How is it coming in?
We are working together with various organizations within the community, within Madare, the justice centers. We are working with Gator Foundation and Madare Network, and we're trying to see how we can mobilize for more resources online. We're working with M-Changa, pay bill number, and some who are not able to use either the M-Changa or the pay bill number, they can send directly to the phone number. We're also receiving donations in kind. And we are trying to distribute them door to door to the affected families, because sometimes verification of data is very important on who has been affected and reaching to the victims themselves. So that's how we're trying to coordinate this and setting up community kitchens to the various areas that have been affected. So we have a community kitchen in Bradi, Madare. We are setting up 3 more community kitchens along Mabatini area, along Madare 4B, and along Vet in Madare.
You've said we very many times.
Yes, we.
I'd like to understand this we.
Yeah.
Who are we?
We are
the people.
You know, this work needs a team. You cannot
yes,
do
it does.
This work
Yes,
alone.
it does. We want to highlight these people so that we know who they are and the public knows who they are.
This is the Ecological Justice Network under the Madar Social Justice Center. This is the Teen Moms Network. This is the Dobie Women Network. This is the Ghetto Foundation. This is a network of Kenyans that are just giving support. We've had support from University of Nairobi students who've mobilized among themselves. We've had support from Java Foundation, who brought us breakfast on one of the days there was flooding. We have seen the love that Kenyans have for each other in this time. We have seen a lot of Kenyans.
Don't be afraid to mention those who have supported you.
I want to thank Sarika very much, who has been every day calling to ask Wanjera, what do you need? Wanjera, what can we do? Wanjera, how can we mobilize better? So Sarika and Johanna have been very helpful during this time, and our networks across the world as Madar Social Justice Center. And our advisory council, Arnav Kapoor, also at MSJC, has helped us really get support. Naomi Van Stapel. There's support that we are receiving across the country, and we are really grateful for the solidarity that Wakenya tunaonyesha. Yeah.
So this is the thing, Wanjira, even as you do that, even as these activities continue, the mobilization of funds, mobilization of, a lot of these items that people need. The truth of the matter is that the rains will continue. This is what we've been told. I've actually just seen, another alert from Kenya Met now. And we're talking about quite some more intense rain over the next week until at least the 5th of May, right? The question is, and Waziri has said this a number of times, are we looking at a situation where if folks are asked to leave, right?
Yeah.
Can they? I'm asking this in as sensitive a way as I can.
Yeah.
Because if folks are like this money that's being mobilized, if folks are told move to an area where we will not see this kind of intense flooding, where your homes will be destroyed or where you'll be marooned again, would people go? If you say, look, go find another place where you can rent for 2,000 shillings, 1,000 shillings.
Will it happen?
Will it happen?
I think
will they go?
I think it will happen, but I don't think it's a sustainable solution in the long run, because the month will end. Why would they get this 2,000 again to parent?
So this is the assumption, right? That folks are doing something every day where they lived, that there's some kind of economic activity that they're involved in at whatever level. They were getting something to eat every day by virtue of the fact that they did a job, whatever it is, Wanjira. That was the assumption, right? Because you lived, you ate. Your children went to school before the rain came and kind of washed everything away. So the assumption is that activity will continue. Or are we saying that the flooding situation came and literally and figuratively washed away everything, including the work or jobs that they had to do?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If you are cooking every day for food. Community members,
yes, okay,
your kazi has gone, so you're trying to figure out, how do I start again?
Okay.
So if you get some money to relocate, you're asking, do I set up my business? Do I relocate?
Okay, I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear you. So, like, for example, if you had a border business, for example, you were doing it in the area, and now there's no area. Literally, that's what we're saying.
There's no area, or even there's no border.
Because it went.
Because it went with the water.
This is the severity of what we're talking about.
This is the severity of what we're talking about.
So it's not just a solution where I tell you, well, here's 10,000 bob, you move and let's keep it moving, right?
It's not sustainable.
Essentially, we're saying, okay, so what happens when I'm at the end of the rent?
Yeah.
how do I survive every
move?
day?
How can we come up with a sustainable solution long term? Yeah, that's
are there ideas being discussed in this?
Oh, we are having a meeting this evening at the center this afternoon when I leave to think about how best we can do this for our community, even as we seek to partner with Waziri when we sit down as a team. What solutions can we also try and because the solutions must come from the people. The people must say, this is what we think would work best for us at this particular time. Yeah.
Okay. So now you're mobilizing. People who are watching and listening and people who will catch this information later, how do they support?
They can send support in kind or in cash to our pay bill number. Just give me a moment to read that. But we're receiving and a lot of donations. I also want to thank Washera, who came with a lorry of clothes yesterday at the center. She must be a very good community organizer as well, having convinced her community to give donations to the people of Madar.
It's a truckload of clothes that came.
Yeah.
That is one serious person.
That's a very good
That
move.
is, Washera Dande, asante sana, my dear.
Because then also, if you can, link people up with various people such as Washera can then, communicate and say, if you're in this kind of neighborhood, this is how we can do it. If you've got maybe clothes that you'd like to donate, you can then donate through your, community neighborhoods and the food, and the clothes or whatever else you're donating. Because like you're saying, even just sufuria, kijiko, kikombe,
kila kitu inahitajika kwa sababu
mwiko, kichungi, all those things are needed, and the people would appreciate them. So that entire network, as you give us the pay bill, also give us the network. Somebody who's listening to this and they're in South B, South C, how can they, and they're looking and they're seeing, I can actually donate one or two things. I can donate a karai, I can donate a towel, I can donate...
Or old clothes, where can I drop them off, kind of thing,
Where can, yes.
Yeah, a set of spoons. Yeah, and I also want to thank Lily, who has offered her car to go and pick donations from various places, from various people who are not able to come. So she says, if anyone has something to give and they call you and we're not able to, give me a call, nitaenda nichukue nizilete center. So thank you so much, Lily, for that.
So this thing that Waziri talks about, where he says that Kenyans ought to come together and actually help out the government, because it is a national, it's a national calamity.
Kenyans
it's already happening.
It is.
It's happening.
It's happening already.
Yeah.
Okay. The pay bill number?
Our pay bill number is 4060187. 4060187. The account name is the Madar Social Justice Center, but for short, MSJC.
Madar Social Justice Center.
Yes.
That's the account number, account name.
That's the account
And
name.
then you put in whatever amount, of course.
Yes,
right?
Put in whatever amount, even if it is 200 shillings. It will go to buy a packet of unga that we shall cook for Uji.
Drop-off points.
Drop-off point is at the Madare Social Justice Center, which is along Juja Road, opposite Shell Petrol Station. Madare Social Justice Center, along Juja Road, opposite Shell Petrol Station.
Okay. There's proper signage someone can see?
Yeah, there's a proper signage.
All right. And so there are those then that are saying, if you are, a community mobilizer, and you're able to mobilize your community to get those things, get clothes, get utensils, get whatever is needed by somebody who's alive, but they've lost everything that they had. Shoes, ata socks, everything. How can they get in touch with you?
They can come to our community center, or we will be at various community centers. There's people wearing ecological justice reflectors, so they can get in touch with one of our team members and to party your documentation.
Are you on social media?
Yes, we are on social media.
Can they DM you on social media?
You can DM me on social media.
Are you responsive? Like, do you respond after 3 days?
No.
1 week?
In this period, I am receiving so many calls, but I am also checking my DMs on Twitter especially.
Okay.
So I will get back.
What's your Twitter handle?
My Twitter handle is at Wanjiru Njira.
At Wanjiru Njira.
The name is Nzalendo Wanjira, but the Twitter handle is at Wanjiru Njira.
With ends before the J's.
Yes.
In both cases.
Yes.
And what about people who want to volunteer at the center?
Karibu, we need volunteers now to help us cook in the various community kitchens we have set up to help us cook and maybe serve, and tunahitaji volunteers. If the only thing you can do is volunteer your time, get in touch with me as well. We can make arrangements.
And I raised this with the Waziri. Now that schools are closed and we've got the Dishina County kitchens, have you thought of reaching out to them and saying, what's the organization called? Food for?
Nice. Over to
food for education?
Yeah, Food for Education. Food for Education. Reaching out to Food for Education, they have done this. They do this all the time. They know how to mobilize, so how to do central kitchen, how to distribute food. Have you reached out to them?
Yes, we have worked with Food for Education. They brought food at Undugu and also Krishna. Walileta chakula kwa community. So how we did is they were at one central place, and we mobilized the community members who were affected to go at Undugu and get some hot meals there. But it was only for a day. Yeah.
Okay. So the message here is that they know it's possible for us to come together.
It is very possible.
And to come and support.
Yes.
But usually when we do this, we are doing this in response to an emergency. And we expect that somebody else will then take it up and think long-term, medium-term to long-term, what's the lasting solution? And if you can come back to the people and say, so we have thought through, this is the solution that can support 6 months down the road, this is a solution that can support these people to get a livelihood back, then this is what we'll be asking for. I suppose that's a challenge that we're putting to you as the Madar Social Justice Center and the others. What, as you have this conversation with the communities, what do they think beyond this, beyond what's going on now? Once the floods recede, then what?
Okay.
As you're mobilizing for this, we have to think of the then what.
For sure. I agree. And I want us to remember the Mukuru people. At some point they were evicted, and up to now Mukuru people are still in tents, even in this cold weather. So when we talk about solutions, when we say affordable housing, it needs to be really affordable, because if affordable housing was working, these people who are living along the river could be living in those affordable houses. The people who are living in tents in Mukuru could have gotten to those affordable houses. But what we see, for example, the affordable houses in Pangani, the people of Madare were paying diligently some 200 shillings every month. Ilikuwa inaitwa boma yangu. Walikuwa wanalipa, some even pay 1,000. And then at some point they were like, okay, what are we really paying for? Because the houses zingine zimemaliziwa, but we see there's room for parking hapo chini. So are these houses being built really for people of Madare and Mukuru, or people who are able to park their car downstairs when they go to the house?
Considered aspirational. Hata mtu wa Madara anaweza kununua gari.
And also it's a combination of both the social housing and affordable housing. It's just that you're saying that, just because you've come from Madara, it doesn't mean that you cannot live in this neighborhood.
Yes.
In the same neighborhood as somebody who has, come from Golden Gate South B.
Indeed. The idea. The spirit of the people is one of resilience, that's for sure. It doesn't really matter. Nobody's going to go down without a fight from what we've seen. Is there hope? I mean, as you hear from people that, it'll get better. Mind you, that, again, like Eric has said, the waters will recede, the rains will stop, things will dry up. Are people going to go back
to the river?
Yes.
No, we are not going to allow that. It's a risk to their lives, and the riparian land needs to be left. I feel like also the river is saying up to here, this is the space of the river, Yeah, so we are going to really advocate that people get away from the riparian land, to not risk their lives. But also we need to have a concrete plan. Sawa, tutoke twende wapi.
Kwani ni mafuriko ndio imekueleza kwamba kulikuwa na shida hii riparian land?
Hapana, tulikuwa tunatengeneza community parks along the riparian land actually last year kama ecological justice network, na tulikuwa na 3 community parks: Madar Community Park, Ghetto Farmers Park na Green Park. Hizi parks zote zimekuwa destroyed by the river except Ghetto Farmers that have very strong bamboos along the river. So we were talking with Humphrey yesterday and we said the best thing we can do is plant these bamboos all along the Madari River because we've seen their strength and resilience. Na pia watu wengine walikuwa wanashikilia bamboo wakikuwa swept by the river. So a lot of people were rescued there at the Ghetto Farmers Community Park. Wanashikilia bamboo, watu wanakuja wanawatoa. Yeah.
The reason why I asked you that question is for a simple reason. There are many problems that can be averted. You see, now we have a problem and we're trying to find a solution for a problem that, if you look at it, could have been averted.
I completely agree with you.
Yes. Could have been avoided completely. Now, how do we ensure, because what you're doing is remarkable, and for you to have what you're doing and the way you're doing it, means you have the support of the people you're working among.
Sure.
How do you get people to support, the very people who live there? How do you get them to support such initiatives? So that even in the absence, even if the people who work in your organization are not present, just the people who live around there but not living in riparian land are the ones who will ensure that nobody sets up any residential outfit within that area.
So those are conversations already people are having, kwa sababu watu wengine wameanza kununua mabati and trying to get there, so we can see the youths themselves going and saying, we are not going to allow you to set up a house near the river again, even if it is cheaper. We are risking our lives. Unajua, what has happened in Madar is something we have never seen before. We have never seen such catastrophe, such loss of life. As we are documenting, tunasikia mtu anatuambia, my 2 children went with the river. You know. So this has been very also traumatizing for us, and no one wants to build along the river as well. And even if they do, the community is stepping in and saying this is too risky. We have already lost so many people. We have already lost children. We've lost too many lives.
Mzalenjo Wanjera, thank you very much for joining us. Wanjera is a community organizer. She's the co-founder of the Madar Social Justice Center. Please support what they're doing. The pay bill number again, 4060187. And the account name will be MCJS. MS.
Madare
Social Justice Center. MSJS. JC. The other way around. Madare Social Justice Center. Thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation. Have a lovely day. 10 a.m.
Ubaga. It is a sad morning for Kenyans as the government has confirmed that the death toll of the Mai Mahiu flash floods has now hit 71. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua said that other people have been reported missing after the tragedy, even as search and rescue enters day 2. He says the government will deploy KDF officers where possible to assist other agencies in the search mission. The developments comes as President William Ruto convenes a special cabinet meeting at State House to address the floods disaster in the country, which has so far now claimed more than 100 lives, and the number is clocking to 200. The flash floods occurred on Monday after a water body in Kijabe burst its banks and flew towards homes in Mai Mahiu. Former Murang'a Governor Mwangi wa Iria has presented himself at the EACC police station for statement recording and fingerprint taking about the ongoing probe into allegations of graft. Also present as his co-accused persons, among them his wife. The former governor is later expected to be arraigned and charged. Justice Nixon Sifuna directed that the former county chief Jane Waigwe Kani and Solomon Kimani cooperate with EACC and DPP and present themselves for fingerprint taking and statement recording. James Wanjohi, a businessman identified as a city pastor, has come out to deny allegations that he obtained 600 million shillings after defrauding 4,000 Kenyans while promising them visas to travel abroad. Police in Nairobi raided Worth Start Africa offices in pension towers after victims recorded statements on how they were conned lots of money by the company's director Wanjohi. Wanjohi has scoffed at the accusations, arguing that he is a victim of a political witch hunt instigated by his nemesis. Wanjohi is, however, not the first leader in the nation to be blamed over duping Kenyans who want to travel abroad. Expectant mothers have been urged to consume healthy foods before and after delivery for the sake of their babies. Kakamega Governor's wife Janet Baraza says most of the infants whose mothers fail to pay attention to good nutrition habits suffer from various diseases.
Wewe ni mama ambaye uko na watoto wachanga ama bado una uwezo wa kupata watoto, hakikisha kwamba hao watoto unawalinda vizuri. Kuanzia wakati ule unaposhika mimba, hakikisha kwamba unapata chakula vizuri ili yule mtoto ambaye umembeba awe na afya nzuri. Na unapojifungua, nyonyesha huyo mtoto kwa miezi 6 bila kumpatia chakula kingine. Wewe kunywa hiyo uji, kula ugali, upate maziwa. Nyonyeshe mtoto. Usimpatie mtoto uji wa miezi 2 ama kumpatia ugali. Huyo mtoto akona appetite unampea ugali.
And this is the sports news. I'm Leo Baga.
Chance here, there's the opening goal, rifled in by Martin Odegaard, linking beautifully with Kai Havertz.
Good morning. Gor Mahia head coach Jonathan McKinstry has announced the return of goalkeeper Gad Matthews to the training squad as the team prepares for a critical match against Muranga Seal at the SportPesa Arena this Saturday. Matthew, who has been absent from many training sessions, raising questions about his commitment, is now back and ready to go. Matthews' return is likely to boost the team's spirit as it seeks its 21st championship. Kogalo only needs 4 wins and a draw from their remaining 7 matches to claim the championship under sport in continental play. Now, this year's Safari Sevens will take place in Nairobi from October 11 to 13. Kenya Rugby Union aims for a greater event than 2023 when fans did not turn out as planned. Shujaa are the defending Safari Sevens champions and they hope to retain the title at the end of the tournament. Rafael Nadal advanced to the Madrid Open's final 16 with a hard-fought victory over Argentina's Pedro Cachin. After 3 hours and 6 minutes on court, the 37-year-old Spaniard won 6-1, 6-7 and 6-3. Nadal, a 5-time champion, is playing on Madrid clay for the final time in what he expects to be his last season. Here is Nadal after the match.
Well, some moments good, some moments not good. But well, I find a way to be through. No? I think in the third set, even with some mistakes, I was able to be a little bit more unpredictable, and that probably changed the match.
Nadal will now face 30th seed Jiří Lehecka of Czech Republic on Tuesday for a spot in the quarterfinals. And that's the Sports Wire. I'm Derek Otieno.